Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eternal Minute. And here we are at the final two Hayao Miyazaki films, Howl's Moving Castle and Spirit Away. And these two are arguably the magnum opuses and the best of Hayao Miyazaki and as well as Studio Ghibli. So let's start with Howl's Moving Castle, a movie well loved by many critics and fans alike, and has garnered so much popularity and fan attention. Chad, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't understand why. I genuinely don't like this movie, like at all. I need you to tell me why I'm supposed to like it.
Wow, more than Porco?
Porco just felt pointless. I liked elements of Sophie in this, but I mean, really, other than her, I didn't like Howl himself. And I kind of thought I was supposed to, but it's like the movie never gave me a reason to like him. And in a way, this was kind of like a reverse Beauty and the Beast. But it was like, at least in Beauty and the Beast, those two had interactions to the point where I knew why they eventually fell in love. Here, I don't get it. What did either of them discover about the other one that they suddenly were in love with them?
I mean, okay, so let's get into the positives first. Let's go positives first before negatives. What do you think of the positives? Any positives in this movie?
I think it was kind of cool how the little fire flame, Calcifer, was like a completely different animation style than everything around him.
Okay, fair.
No, in a good way. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Like, it helped his character stand out.
Alright, what else?
I guess I like Sophie's character, even though it almost felt like she started off as a very quiet, reserved, this is my place in life type of person.
Right.
But then it was like the second she became an old woman, it almost felt like as soon as she became an old woman, her character development was like done. Like she suddenly was like a go-getter who was like, oh, I can do this. And it was like, we're only 20 minutes in. And she's already like completely changed who she is.
Right.
The animation was good.
Alright.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's about it. I can't think of anything else.
I understand. Okay, yeah, Howl's Moving Castle, I feel like maybe you need to watch a couple of times to love it. But so yeah, I like it because, well, to be honest, the romance between Sophie and Howl is so, it's sweet. But although I do get the point of there's it's kind of hard to figure out which one. It's kind of hard to figure out what they like about each other. But I think it's more of Howl is this is how I see it. This is how I personally see it. Howl is a wizard who's fighting all of these wars and helping people and giving out so many potions and medicine for all and playing different wizards that he has never had anyone to take care of himself. There's a kid, yeah, sure, and Calcifer, but Sophie's someone who really is trying to genuinely understand him. And in the same vein, you mentioned Beauty and the Beast, I guess it's in that same vein of here's someone trying to understand Howl instead of and understand where his sacrifices. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying, but with the animation being the way it was Howl, at least when he was in human form, almost always had a smile on his face. So it's like I never really got a sense of insecurity from this character where I'm supposed to look at him and be like, I feel bad for him because he's like worn out or something. I think the only scene where we really saw a massive expression on him when he was in human form was when Sophie like messed with the stuff in the bathroom and he dyed his hair red. But aside from that, whenever he was walking around, he just had a very this is almost going to sound like an oxymoron, a blank smile on his face. Like he just had a smile, but that was it. He just always had that same look on his face. Even when he'd like come back through the door when it was on the black mark, he would still walk in with still a smile on his face. So it's like, are we supposed to like what struggles, pains did this character actually go through in those times where he comes home and he just seems completely fine?
Yeah, I think there it was more of like I think there it was more of like he's just masking his pain. He's not really like, like.
But like, for what reason? This is his castle. He is the lord of this place. The little kid is his apprentice, and to him, Sophie's just some bog standard old woman. So it's like, who is he trying to impress? It can't be Calcifer because Calcifer is, his heart.
Right. I think more of it was this is just my theory. You can take it like you can.
No. We all have different ways of seeing things in films that others don't see. So yeah, absolutely, go for it.
This is my theory. Because I remember at the beginning he rescued Sophie from.
No, he didn't rescue her.
That's right. He didn't rescue her. Like Sophie.
He used her. He dragged her into all of this.
Exactly. Yeah. Not exactly. Not. He dragged Sophie into this, and then the Witch of the Waste comes and turns, Sophie into an old woman. So like now it's like she's an old woman, and now like she spent like a lot of her time and energy just going to the castle. And Howl, I think Howl knew that, like, because like he knows magic, so he knew that this was partly his fault. So the last thing he would want to do is like scare Sophie with his outbursts and rage. I mean, that's just my theory.
I mean, he could do something.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but again, it's just more of like, how do I put this?
See, the weird thing is they keep going on about how, like, he's broken girls' hearts and, he's afraid of commitment and he runs, but it's like, well, then what's he doing getting involved in wars? Like, is this character selfish or not? I mean, being scared of a relationship and getting involved in war, those are two completely different things, but it's like, you almost look at it and be like, well, then that's what you want to do. I don't know. It's hard to display. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, like it's. I'm not gonna be like one of those idiots being like, oh, this movie was like too intellectual for you to understand. It's not like that.
Are you too stupid to understand what you just watched?
No, it's not like that. It's more of like I'm just trying to like illustrate how I saw it, like why I liked it. It's like I liked it because it was like a take on rage. I really hate to bring up like themes because like themes use as like
all of these movies have themes in them. We just didn't talk about many of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like we talk about it in Kiki and Wind Rises, but like not like, for example, Nausicaa is the theme of like, it's coming of age. It's like going out of your comfort zone.
Coming of age, humanity versus nature.
Yeah, Princess Mononoke is humanity versus nature, and humanity versus the world. Like, take care of the world, or the world will kill you, and all that.
Yeah, because even we actually forgot to bring it up, but it was like, remember when they resurrected the giant?
Yeah.
It died because it was fighting the world, and the world allowed it to get killed suddenly. Remember that?
Nausicaa?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was like they were even like, no, the world is even pissed off that we're destroying it. So it's like, yeah, the major themes of that in that movie. So it's like, but in this one, I just
like the way I saw it, like again, it was it was a bit complicated to understand. I'm like, yeah, I agree. Like it's like I will agree that it's really all over the place. Like it's not exactly like um um specific on like what it wants to focus on. But in my mind, what I saw was this. It really is it it's really a take on rage, on rage and doing too much. I really think that's what Howl is about. It's like it's doing. Howl is a guy who's overextended, who's burned out, who's doing so much for so many people that he's never actually had self-care. So when Sophie comes along and actually does self-care, she sees a side of Howl that has never been seen by any other. Like how, like the way I understood it was this: Howl is meant to be the savior, but who
she
will
winds up being his.
Yeah, exactly. Who will save him? I think that's exactly like the whole point. It's honestly okay. And I'm gonna say this once, and I will never say it again. It was honestly way more on the nose and way more poignant than Spider-Man 2. Because Spider-Man 2 is like, oh, the savior is like, oh, here's a savior, and who's gonna save him? Isn't it about time that someone saved your life? I think Howls Moving Castle really illustrated that way better than Spider-Man 2 did. It's more of like exactly like Howl's the savior, and he has his castle and he's helping everyone, but who's gonna save him? So like that's what I saw from the movie. Does that make sense, or does it? Or I'm just like, oh, he's talking.
No, you nailed it. I think you're right. Now thinking about it in that light, I do get what you're saying, and I do see it, but I still stand by what I said of Sophie and Howl did not have enough time together to form a relationship in the slightest. Like they did not know each other.
Okay,
I've seen people say like, oh, Beauty and the Beast sucked because look, they barely knew each other. They spent if for those who clearly didn't pay attention, they spent the entire winter together in that movie. She got there before the snow came down and she left when the snow was going away. She was there all winter as his prisoner, and that's when they were getting to know each other. This movie takes place over the course of 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing I also don't understand is, okay, I don't mean to say it so like simple, because I'm sure there's some like metaphor or something in it, but it's like, so Howl got his powers from a shooting star that he swallowed, and then he spit out his own heart.
That was Calcifer.
Okay, so he swallowed him and then spit out his own heart.
Yeah.
Why?
You have a good point.
That's what I did not understand about that flashback. I was like, I don't understand what I was supposed to get out of that. Why? What deep meaning did that have to his character? Why did he do that with the shooting star?
Right. Okay, yeah. Again, I don't have any answer for that. And also, just so that I say it now, I also don't understand why the turnip became the prince and just solved.
That was so like, I don't want to. It wasn't predictable because I'm not gonna lie, I almost completely forgot about it because it felt like it was a throwaway line. Like I get that was like the crutch why the war started, but it was like it was focused on so like minusculely that it's like when he came back, I was like, I'm the prince that's why the war's happening. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm like, so wait, Howls. Everyone knew Sophie was under a curse that she couldn't talk about, but they didn't know the turnip was a human either.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That did not make any sense. But
And it was just cliche. It was like, oh, really? So the whole thing that could have stopped the war was right in front of their faces. Come on.
yeah, I get you. But
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just wasn't for me. It really wasn't.
yeah,
And
and that's
it's
fine.
not even like it's just I don't get it. I know this movie has fans. I know like my friend Chris, our friend Chris, he loves this movie. Like he told me this was his favorite one, and I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, I understand that. Again, because like, we all have our own tastes, and
Hmm.
there are times when we disagree and agree. And really, like, yeah, I mean, like, um, there are flaws in this movie for sure, and it's one of them is it's a bit too self-indulgent. Like, the the plot the second act plot is really like convoluted. It's like, all right, you guys are like going a bit too much. But at the same time, I get what Miyazaki was going for. Honestly, it was more. For me, it's a discussion on, you know, how like Wind Rises was a discussion on dreams and
Yeah.
like how far will you go for your dream? What will you sacrifice? Will you sacrifice your wife, your family, just to achieve it? You know, and then Kirby Deliver Service and Nausicaa are coming of age films, like in the same like different narratives and stories, but same thing. And Porco Rosso, like I see elements of Porco Rosso being like, you know, trying to live out the glory days. You know, Porco Rosso has to be in a dogfight and has to like, even though it mostly is and has to like fly the plane. And for this and Cast on the Sky for me, like the theme I saw in Cast on the Sky was really uh going back to face your past. You know, it's like the castle was this thing that both Shita and Pazu uh, had to figure out, and it's related to their past. You know, so like that made sense for me. And then Totoro, well, there's no really theme in Totoro because Totoro is like a kids film.
Well, the theme of Totoro was very simple.
Yeah,
Family.
and Ponyo was like, you know, first love and like, you know, two
The
worlds.
power of friendship and
Yeah,
exploring new worlds.
like yeah. So Howl's Moving Castle, I like the fact that Miyazaki tackled rage and like bottling up all your emotions. Because like there's a scene, remember, when Sophie goes down and see Howl in his beastly form, and you can and it's like, oh, that's rage, you know, and like he's mad and like he's bottling up his emotions that no one else sees. I like the fact that they tackle that, and I like the fact that it's also a talk on overextension. You know, don't overextend yourself. Don't like spread yourself so thin that because remember, Howl was like this, like Howl was like 4 or 5 different identities for like so many countries. So like,
Mm-hmm.
don't overextend yourself. Although yes, I'll admit that it does become convoluted, and I can't argue that. Like yeah, like what you said, like the prince suddenly being, you know, the turnip suddenly being the prince is like out of left field. Like where the hell did you get that? And yeah, the whole Howl, not I think Howl and Sophie would have worked more if they gave more screen time. Like this could
Yeah.
be easily a 2 hour and a half film instead of like an hour and 45. Give more, like give an extra 30 minutes just for Howl and Sophie, and you can flesh them out way more. That's why like remember, like Princess Mononoke, Howl, and Spirited Away are like the trilogy of like the greatest Hayao Miyazaki films of all time by the public, and this is, in my opinion, the weakest one. Like even if I like it, this is the weakest one because it does meander a bit and it does really convolute. But at the same time, I like it. I like what it discusses, even though it does get lost in the plot holes and the, you know, or not, sorry, not plot holes, but plot conveniences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anything else more to say about Howl's Moving Castle, Chad? I mean, like, do you like it? I mean, like,
Same as Porco Rosso. If you haven't seen it, I implore you to please watch it and form your own opinion. Don't just go off of what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I just ask if you hear what I'm saying and disagree, not an issue. Just don't get mad at me for it. Please understand this is just my opinion. This movie just simply just did not work for me. And if it works for you, like I said, our friend Chris, awesome. Santino, you and I both know plenty of people who they get angry at people for liking for liking movies and books that they don't like. And I genuinely have never understood that. Like you and I joke around about the Star Wars sequels trilogy. We just genuinely don't like it, but we'll gladly engage in conversation with somebody about it. And we only get upset if we point out an actual flaw, like we were saying about why did he swallow the shooting star and spit out his heart, and you were like, yeah, I get that. And somebody is like, and if somebody's response to that was like, you're an idiot for just not getting it, it'd be like, wow, okay, calm down, can you explain it to me then? You're just an idiot for not getting it. It's like, okay, you don't get it either because you can't explain it. What are you getting mad about? Or because you don't like it. I love this movie. It's like, just relax. It's a film. Calm down. But no, yeah, just like I said, just go make up your own opinion. And if you enjoy it, please, I want you to enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, then you know what? You've got me on your side, I guess.
Yeah, it's more of like how do I put this? How do I put this properly? It's more of like, it really is, Howl's Moving Castle is really up to your own interpretation. Either you like it or uh, either you like it or you hate it. And for me personally, I like it. I do like it. Although yes, even though I do like it, there are issues with the movie. I cannot deny that. I cannot deny that the prince was like out of left field. I cannot deny that. I cannot deny that Howl himself didn't get any development. Really, I mean, like he really. But at the same time, I do like what Miyazaki was going for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's just me. I mean, like you don't have to like you again. Like that's what Chad said. You have to form your own opinions. So yeah, I guess that's it for Howl's Moving Castle, and let's go forward with Miyazaki's arguably best film and my favorite film of his entire like work, Spirited Away. So Chad, what do you think of Spirited Away?
It was good. You honestly scared me when you were like, oh my gosh, you don't love Mononoke and you don't like Howls. I don't think you're going to like this. I was like, oh no, please don't let this be another one that I just absolutely don't like. So
Yeah,
Spirited Away
I'm glad we can end on a high note.
Yeah. So Spirited Away was good.
Yeah.
It is not my number one. There's quite a few ahead of it. But this is along the same vein of Mononoke. I have absolutely no problems with it. I just don't love it like you do.
Right. So like
with this one, and it's funny because I kept noticing this in the end. This one literally it feels like a Japanese version of Alice in Wonderland.
Right. Yeah.
You know, girls living a normal life, goes to this weird place of just where the rules don't make sense much anymore and things just kind of happen, and she becomes stronger because of it. And I'd argue that Chihiro actually had more character development than Alice did in the original animated Alice in Wonderland, because there was no character development in that live action thing. No, Chihiro had a ton of character development. She went from a spoiled little crybaby who was afraid of everything to, I mean, this extremely brave girl going off into a world of just weirdness and braving the unknown.
Yeah, exactly. Like uh, I love how fast paced this is. Like they arrive, like a lot of Ghibli films, like the first act, like it's just like builds up, and now here it's like they arrive at the place, the abandoned town, they start eating the food, the parents turn into pigs, the spirits come out, and it's craziness.
It's go time.
It's go time. It's like there's no wait, there's no like there's no there's no wait, there's no stop. It's just here we are. This is the spirit world, and I love it, honestly. I love Spirit Away because like it. Okay, first of all, the animation is awesome, and there's one scene I will talk about which I absolutely love, but we'll talk about it later. Where I think the animation was just like perfect, like zero flaws. And let's talk about the characters first. I'm glad you mentioned Chihiro because I love Chihiro. Chihiro is a very like there was a lot of development for her because you said she was a spoiled little rich girl at the beginning, and at the very end she became independent in her own woman, which is like a lot of development there. I love also Haru, the dragon, the guy who can turn into a dragon. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I honestly love how like this basically is a lesson for Chihiro. This entire like ordeal is a lesson of like it's like here she is. She's a spoiled girl. Like she doesn't want to do anything. She didn't want to leave her home. And like here comes Yubaba, the witch who just takes her name and it's like you're Sen now. You're beneath everyone else. You're not even like a human. You're below humanity. And it's like, and she's forced to serve, but at the same time, she learns humility. You know what I mean? I'm glad that she learns humility. Like she walks out of there a changed person, and that's great. And this really is like a huge ordeal. Because imagine that you're trapped in a world with Japanese ghosts. Your name gets changed. Your identity is below everyone else, and you just have to survive.
Your parents are pigs.
Your parents are pigs. If that doesn't humble you, I don't know what will.
That doesn't scare you. I don't know what will.
Yeah, exactly. And I just feel like again, we're talking about themes here. The theme really is, aside from humility, it's really coming of age. It's really independence. It's really going off
facing your fears.
Yeah, facing your fears. It's really going off your own. And I love that scene where there are two scenes I love. It's the scene where number one, where Chihiro lets No Face in, because it shows that Chihiro has flaws. She doesn't understand the world. She says, "Oh, I'm gonna leave it open." Not like asking someone, not like asking Yubaba, like about what if she should let this person. She just lets him in. It shows like, and it shows that No Face caused damage. And then the second one is where I think really Chihiro comes onto her own, where I think she fulfills her character arc, and everything after that is just basically like wrap up. It's when she leaves the spiritual bathhouse and she walks towards Yubaba's twin sister's house, Zeniba, and just takes that train. That's where I mentioned like the perfect animation, because like that was like straight out of a painting where like you see, and that's what I love. Like Miyazaki just gives us enough to make us imagine. Like you see the spirit world, and you see all these trains, and then like you see the ghosts going down to their stations, and she's just like sitting there and watching it all go by. To me, that is the transition of coming of age. She became, the minute she landed in Zeniba's place, she was an adult. She knew what she wanted. She wasn't a spoiled little girl anymore. She was an adult. That's what it made for me. Like, and it's subtle. It's not like it hits you in the head like with it's like, I am all the Jedi. I'm my own woman now. It's like, it's not like that. It's subtle, which is awesome. And I love it, honestly. I love the fact that she's humbled, that she learns a lot, It's like, that really, it's really a trial by fire. Does that make sense? Or like, am I just like talking out of my ass?
No, it makes sense. It's absolutely what she went through. 100%, I agree.
So how about you, Chad? What do you like about it? What do you like about it?
Just the chaotic creativity. I think the only thing, and this is not a problem with the movie, this is a problem with me, more or less, is there's a lot of this that I think I would need to know the culture better to understand more, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, kind of like the three heads that Yubaba has bouncing around. I'm sure that's some form of mythology
Right. Yeah.
that I just don't understand. uh the baby, that bird that she had that like had her face, that they all got transformed by Zeniba. It's like there's a little more, like, if I understood the culture more, I'm sure I wouldn't look at that with questions. It doesn't take away from the film in the slightest. It's just more, I wish I was a little more educated on the culture.
Right.
But I did think that was hilarious. I think the baby was probably one of the funniest characters. Don't come in here, you'll bring germs. I'm like, wow, was this movie made for today's world that we live in? Ooh. But then, like that, they turn the baby into a mouse, and it's like the baby's happy being a mouse. It doesn't even want to go back to being a baby anymore.
Yeah.
And then when it does, it's this gigantic baby that's like 6 feet tall. It's like, what? And why is Yubaba so in love with this thing? But that's why I compared this to Alice in Wonderland. Is this is just a world that it just doesn't make sense, and it makes sense because it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And that's kind of why the original Disney animated Alice in Wonderland worked also, whereas that Tim Burton one didn't make sense because they tried to bring order and make sense of a world that's not supposed to make sense. And that's why that movie is awful.
Right.
And that's why this one was good. Because it didn't make sense. I mean,
Well,
think about it. This is a girl who went to the spirit world and was given a job in a bathhouse.
Right.
Cleaning spirits. Like, what? Like, it's just so weird and odd that it
You're not supposed to
works.
question it. It's just like Castle in the Sky. You're not supposed to understand every bit of the lore. Like,
Yeah, but Castle in the Sky wasn't supposed to be so weird that it didn't make sense.
yeah, exactly.
This was. No, I'm not looking at this saying, why don't you make sense? I'm saying it doesn't make sense, and that's why it's weird and enjoyable.
Right, exactly. So, like, okay, so if you could pick a favorite scene from the movie, what would you pick?
It's funny. I had a friend a couple of years ago who told me about this. And she told me that she actually told me about a lot of these movies and that she really liked them. And she always told me, she's like, you have to watch Spirited Away. That's really weird. There's this one character that every time the main little girl's around it, he just kind of stands there and he just goes, oh, oh. And I was always like, what are you talking about? And then I finally watched it, and it's No Face offering the gold,
Yeah.
And it's like, every time I saw that, it just like brings me back to like that time in my life where it's like I remember laughing about a movie I'd never seen with an old friend. But I think I did like that, with No Face crashing through the entire bathhouse, regurgitating everything it had eaten, trying to follow Chihiro out of the facility. And by the time Chihiro and No Face got to the train, No Face was basically back to being completely normal and a good. Was No Face a spirit, a demon?
He was a spirit.
Okay. So back to a completely normal spirit, that being around Zeniba made him completely,
Docile.
docile and normal.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, this is another one where it's like, in a very weird world that this is, I would like to know more about it.
Yeah, exactly. I think also that I think also like one of the best aspects is the world building. It's like they're obviously different worlds because there's the bathhouse and then there's Zeniba's place, and then at one point you see a house. Like obviously some people live there, so like
Mm-hmm.
so like what is it actually? You know, what is this world? Like I almost want to see like not a sequel. It's like I think Chihiro's story was done, but a spinoff.
Well, when it comes to stuff like this, you know what I would almost prefer? A book series.
Oh yeah,
Because then that way with a book series, it can be like, because I'm sure there's certain people out there who are like, no, I'm happy with it the way it was. I don't need an explanation. With a book, it's not an official sequel. But then for people like us who want a little bit more, we can look at it and be like, hey, look, this explores the world more.
yeah, exactly. I want to be like, hey, what else is out? Because like
Yeah, like why aren't humans wanted or allowed here? Because they
yeah,
didn't really delve into that, did
yeah,
they?
it didn't explain. It's like, is it just because like they're different cultures, or is it because of something else? We
Yeah,
just
exactly.
And what is that? What is a town? Like obviously, like the town was real, right? Because the parents saw it. So why is this town connected to the spirit world?
Yeah, exactly. But again, that just leads to the mystery that's fine staying a mystery.
Exactly. And did you like Yubaba as an antagonist? Because like
Yeah, she was good. I mean, she was like an overbearing boss. She was clearly psychotic, money hungry, greedy. Kind of had some like Wicked Witch of the West vibes.
yeah,
But no, I liked her, and I liked the. I would have almost have liked to have seen a little bit of what was it like? Okay, when they went to Zeniva's place, and she was like, we're identical twins, polar opposites.
yeah. So what does
Okay,
Yubaba
why?
like mean?
Well, like why? Were they at one point one individual that split into the good half, bad half? Is this just like what is Zeniva? Is she a leader of an area herself? That's what we were saying about I want more of this world. Who are these two?
Exactly. It's weird. Like but at the same time, like I think it's better off not explained. Like
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, I didn't want it explained in the movie. I think it'd be cool to explore, like we said, like in a book or something, which would be interesting. Like you said, like a spin-off book or something. But it was fine for the movie. It just still, it's kind of like Wizard of Oz. You still wonder, like Glenda, the Good Witch of the North, and the Wicked Witch of the West, what is their dynamic? I didn't need it explained in the film. I'm happy never knowing, but it's still interesting to wonder why. You know what I mean?
side note, I watched the play Wicked. It's actually a really good story. And like what?
They're actually turning it in. They're actually doing a movie adaptation of it soon.
Oh yeah, the play is really good.
That's what I've heard. The play is really good, and it's like I've always wanted to see it, but I don't know if it's playing anymore. But I know I'm excited to see the movie at least.
It's true. And then
I
I
think
also
my sister saw it on Broadway.
oh, did she like it?
Oh, she loved it. She
Nice,
went on a school trip to New York, and that's where she got to see it.
nice.
I know. I was like, "You're so lucky."
So yeah, I mean, like, okay, so Spirited Away, all-time favorite of mine. I think that's really great. I think I think it has the best discussion of coming of age, humility, growing up, becoming your own person. I mean, like Chihiro literally went from spoiled girl to complaining about moving to handling a poop spirit, and finally like saving Haru. If that's not,
And her parents.
yeah, exactly. If that's not development, I don't know what is. So
It
yeah,
wasn't.
so yeah. That was Spirit Away. So that's it. Ghibli month is over. But
Almost over.
almost over because we're gonna do one final episode where we rank and discuss our final thoughts on Studio Ghibli.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see you then, guys. This is Antino signing off.
Adios.
Nice.